The scene unfolds in Aman Dumai, Indonesia, on April 27, 1997. A young farmer is undergoing his usual routine as he walks into a sugarcane field looking for plants to feed his livestock. As he ventures deeper into the maze of crops, he encounters an unusually large dirt mound right in the middle of the field. Fearing the worst, he runs to inform his village head about such a sight, which resulted in the head gathering a group of villagers to dig up such a mound. They dug, and soon it became dark outside until they finally uncovered possibly the most gruesome sight they ever seen in their life: the decomposing corpse of 21-year-old Sri Kamala Dewi. Dewi was just one of the 42 claimed victims of subject murder from 1986 to 1997. When we imagine the profile of a serial killer, we often imagine the lone wolf, the isolated, misunderstood being, the mentally unwell and estranged maniac. What we don't often imagine is the healer, the person that everyone praises, that everyone respects, that everyone trusts. Welcome back to the Midnight Hour, show where we examine the various murders, scandals, and other crimes across Asia. I'm your host, Ellen Pugh. It is often said that the only type of person more dangerous than a bad person perceived with resentment is a bad person perceived with trust. Now imagine this person being the one you go to for healing, your therapist, your pharmacist, or even that one friend you go to for relationship advice. In this case, all those people are wrapped up into one, for this is the narrative of the murderous crimes of Ahmad Siraji, a case with a little sprinkling of black magic. Ahmad Siraji was born on December 12, 1952. His mother was a housewife, and his father was a farmer and a practicing sorcerer. His childhood was uneasy, to say the least. As a young man, he is often entangled in the world of petty crime. Sujito, a childhood friend of his, recalled that the older he got, the more he got involved with thievery and street fighting. At the age of 19, he was jailed for 10 years for his crimes. After his release, he was then imprisoned at 31 for yet another thievery charge. After his second release from jail, he then began his practice of sorcery with the intention of following his father's footsteps. He was never under the mentorship of anyone else. It was just him and the memories of his shaman father studying in the depths of the jungle. Siraji leads what appears to be a typical farmer's life with his 3 wives, all of whom are siblings. Aside from breeding cattle, he was also a practicing sorcerer who soon became known for his healing powers. At first, he only assisted his neighbors, but word soon spread around town about his exceptional healing powers and other skills in sorcery. He could move clouds and manipulate the rain, they believed. This reputation is what led to him having a steady stream of income from loyal customers, some of whom are businessmen and government officials. Everything seems to be going well for Siraji as he juggled between his 2 professions. That is until one night in 1986, like something straight out of a Shakespearean play, his father appeared to him in a dream, like a ghostly apparition. Siraji recalled how his father told him when he was just 10 years old that if he wants to achieve invincibility, he is to obtain the dead bodies of 70 young women and drink their saliva while the body is still fresh. In Siraji's mind, he prefers to achieve this goal as efficiently as possible. Sure, his father never said that he had to kill these 70 young women, but to wait for 70 young women to die by chance will take absolutely forever. So in that case, he decided to take a more controlled approach in order to achieve his ambitions. That is why, the very next morning, Siraji began his murderous campaign of 11 years. From 1986 to 1997, Siraji lured and then strangled 42 young women before burying them in a sugarcane field. Due to the fact that he was a well-respected medicine man/sorcerer in his village, Siraji had access to not only a steady stream of income, but also a steady stream of victims. The methodology for how he conducted his murders remained consistent throughout the 11 years he was active. The women had come to him for aid regarding various issues such as marriage counseling and other romance-related issues. The women were too embarrassed to tell their families that they were seeking Siraji's services regarding these issues. That is why, for 11 years, no one has linked their disappearances to the village sorcerer. What happened was that the customer approached them, they paid him, and once they paid him, he'll lead them to a sugarcane field. After walking a few yards into the depths of the field, Suraji and his customer will eventually stop so he could dig a hole. Sometimes the victim will even help Suraji dig their own grave. The sorcerer will then tell the woman he's going to bury her from the waist down as he ties a rope around her hips. Trusting the authority of a reputable healer, every single victim obliged. As soon as he found his opportunity, Suraji will strangle his victims until they stop breathing. As life disappears from their eyes, the sorcerer will twist their necks before he drinks their saliva straight from their mouth. Once the body collapses, he will strip the body of her clothes and place each set in plastic bags. Suraji will bury each and every victim with their heads facing his home, for he believes by doing so, their spirits will have a direct path to his house and therefore increase his own powers as a shaman. Perhaps one of the most shocking aspects was that one of his wives accompanied him during the whole process. Sometimes, if his steady stream of paying victims starts to run dry, he will hire sex workers and lure them to their deaths instead. According to Suraji, these women are the most vulnerable because they'll most likely not have any family to worry about them due to their taboo and illegal profession, which is what makes them so disposable in the killer's perspective. However, his relentless killing spree came to a halt in April 1997 with the discovery of the body of 21-year-old Kamala Dewi. What made the discovery of Dewi's body crucial to capturing Suraji was the fact that it was the only murder out of the 42 where there was an eyewitness account that directly leads to the killer. Before she arrived at Suraji's doorsteps, she asked the 15-year-old rickshaw driver to take her to him. When the people of the village found her body a few days later, that same 15-year-old rickshaw driver told the police about that one fateful night he drove Dewi to the local village healer. Based on this account, the police launched an investigation which led to his eventual arrest. According to an audio interview conducted right after the police investigation, here is how his last murder unfolded. During the interrogation following the discovery of Dewi's body, Suraji initially denied any connection towards her death, despite the fact that the officers found multiple of Dewi's belongings inside his house, including her clothes, her handbag, and her jewelry. Suraji slowly confessed to Dewi's murder, then 13 murders, then 18, 23, until he finally settled the tally at 42 total murders throughout the last 11 years. The site where Dewi's body was found was soon discovered to be a mass grave. There were soon discoveries of 18 bodies in one plot, 2 bodies in another plot, and 4 bodies in yet another section of the land. The majority of the human remains recovered were skulls and bones of the already decomposed victims, which made any initial identification impossible. Of the 5 initial bodies sent to the forensic labs, Dewi was the only one that was recognizable, partially due to the fact that her family was actively looking for her. Suraji was arrested on April 30th, 1997, and was put on trial months later on December 23rd, 1997, where he was sentenced to death. One of his wives, Tumini, was tried as his accomplice and was also sentenced to death before it was reduced to life in prison. Despite his gruesome killing spree, Suraji's murders had little to no impact on how sorcerers and other mystical-related guidance are seen through the eyes of the general Indonesian public. July 10th, 2008. Ahmad Suraji died via firing squad. That is all for today. Thank you for tuning into the Midnight Hour. My name is Alan Pugh, and I'll see you 2 weeks from now. But in the meantime, I want to ask you something. If Suraji weren't a sorcerer and he didn't believe in the supernatural, would any of this ever happen? I mean, this whole thing started all because he had some dream about his father telling him that if he were to drink the saliva of 70 dead young women, he would gain invisibility. My question is, if he never believed in any of those supernatural things, would any of this ever happen? Or is a man insane enough to murder all those people bound to find another way to perform his insanity? Let me know what you think. And as always,